Welcome to the Quickstart webinar. My name is Noah Harris. If this is your first time attending, we do this webinar, every single Thursday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. The entire point of this webinar is to just educate around the topic of private money lending. It's the whole point of the webinar is to stay sharp. On here, we practice best practices in regards to fundamentals, best practices like private money foundations. We talk about elevator pitches, staying sharp, so whether you're a borrower or a lender, there's tremendous value by tuning into these calls every single Thursday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. So what's up? Welcome everybody. All right, cool. Let's dive into it. So every time I teach a class, you guys, it's really important that we talk about the risk, right? I love talking about risk. I could leave this slide up here for 4 days and talk about all the things that could go wrong with a private money deal. But that's really what education is all about, right? Look, there's been lots of times where people I know have lost money being private money lenders, right? So if you're on this call and you're like, I can't wait to make a nice double-digit rate of return on my money and have it secured by real estate that's worth much more. Gosh, who knew a person could make 10, 12, 15%? Yeah, they could if everything's done right. Right, and you're lending to good people, and the good people have good projects, right? So this is not super simple and super easy, right? There's things we got to know, questions we got to know to ask, right? What to look for, and on the flip side of it, if you're on the call and you're a borrower and you're like, hey, I would love to use other people's money to fund real estate deals. Yeah, no kidding. Of course you would, right? That sounds awesome. We got to do a good job of being great borrowers. What makes a great borrower? Our communication, how we communicate, the investments that the real estate opportunities that we bring to the table, how we manage projects, right? The documents that we provide to our lenders to make sure we're doing things the right way and that they feel safe. So, when it comes to education, that's what we do on this webinar every single Thursday at 1 o'clock. I also coach for Private Money Club. I have a class that we offer through the Private Money Club where, I got a class going on right now. We dive in 1.5 hours, 2 hours sessions twice a week. We're just getting better. We're being the best borrowers and being the best lenders that we could be. The very first thing that I teach in that accelerator class is the importance of surrounding ourselves with licensed business professionals. All right. So if you want to be great in business and real estate, you want credibility, you want to make sure that you're doing things the right way. Well, surround yourself with people who do know how to do things the right way, like licensed real estate attorneys, licensed title companies, real estate agents, contractors for your fix and flips, right? Home inspectors, insurance agents, financial advisors. Like, these are all people, accountants, these are all people that we want on our team, bookkeepers, right? So if you want to be a great private money lender, right, make sure that you're asking the people that you're lending your money to what their team looks like, right? If a person's got their team in place and they're in order, they're ready to go, that's a good sign. That's a good sign to keep the conversation going. If you're a borrower and you're talking about doing a fix and flip, but you don't even know who the contractor is yet that you're going to hire, go figure that out before you start having the conversations with people, all right? So yeah, lots of risk involved, but that's what we do here. Nothing's guaranteed, right, guys? Don't lend money you're not willing to lose. And I'm telling you, the people that have come to me and said, Noah, help. It's usually, I ask them, did you get this document, this document, this document? Nope. Okay. Well, did you ask this question, this question, this question? I didn't know to ask those questions. All right. So don't get caught up by the shiny object of the 15% interest if we don't know what we're doing, right? And if you like real estate, I love private money, right? Obviously, I'm teaching a webinar about it. I would not be anywhere close to where I am at now, career-wise, real estate-wise, if it weren't for the relationships that I have with my private money lenders. And I like to think that my private money lenders feel the same way. Like, they're like, wow, this is fantastic. I love working with this person. I don't have to worry about it. I'm making money with my money, right? It's a win-win. It's a win-win. I don't know any other place where a person can put their money to work and make a double-digit rate of return and have it secured by real estate worth much more. And at the same time, I don't know any other place where a person can go and borrow all the money that they need to fix and flip a house without having to go to a traditional bank and go through all of the things that they're going to take you through just to get denied, right? So this is an awesome opportunity. So welcome to everybody. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Noah Harris. I'm a real estate investor out of Columbia, South Carolina. On behalf of Chris Naugle, Stephen Nagy, Jose Harkin, and the rest of the Private Money Club team, welcome to the Quickstart webinar. We do this every single Thursday at 1 o'clock. I'm in Columbia, South Carolina. What state are you from? Anybody here from tuning in from Colombia? I'm curious. Every once in a while we get some folks from Colombia, right? I love Ron says, hey, most people just don't know what they don't know. Exactly. Exactly. That's great. That's a great line right there, Ron. It's so true. Most people don't know what they don't know. And here's my advice for anyone that's thinking about getting involved in anything, whether it's, I want to get it, I want to do Bitcoin, I want to do stocks, I want to do option trading, I want to do private money lending. I tell my kids this. I have a son in college. He goes to Bowling Green State University. I told him, hey, look, because he's starting to ask me like about investing and things like that. I tell him, invest in what you want to study. Invest in what you want to study. What do you find interesting? What do you want to read about? What do you want to learn about on a Thursday afternoon at 1 o'clock in the middle of your workday, right? Whatever that is, let's start there. Let's put our money there. Let's get as much education as we can around that topic. So when we go to become a private money lender, we're educated, right? So yeah, sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. My goal for everyone that I come in contact with is to help people create a 100% track record in this business. So whether you're a borrower, if you're a borrower, my goal is to help you create a 100% track record. Every time you borrow money, you pay it back. Every single time, right? That's the goal. If you're a lender, every time you lend money out, you get it back. Every single time. What's the track record, right? I've been doing this now, these webinars for 35 weeks. 35 weeks we've done this. My goal, I would love to see people in Charlotte, North Carolina, face-to-face at the Money Tank event that we have coming up, and say, hey, Noah, guess what? 100% track record. Thank you so much for doing what you do. That's what it's all about, right? This is relationship-based. Private money lending is relationship-based. So here's some advice. We're going to have to talk to people. We're going to have to know what to say, and we're going to have to communicate. And what's cool about the Private Money Club is it's a platform. It's a platform where borrowers and lenders can meet up, right? And start the relationship and start talking to one another and meet one another, right? Whether it's on the Private Money Club platform or whether it's at a live event, right? So this is relationship based. If you want to get great at borrowing money, make sure you're giving your lender a great customer service experience. Make sure you're giving them a great experience. One of the things, I had a question. I'm just going to share this with you real quick. This is one of the things we talk about a lot in my Accelerator course. So I teach a class for Private Money Club called the Accelerator. And one of the things, I just had a student message me, and one of the things that they were asking about was the communication side of business. And there's a lot of things that I see, or there's one common thing that I see a lot from people who didn't have a great experience lending, and it's the communication side of things. So here's some good advice. Here's a nice nugget for you, okay? Prior to lending money or prior to borrowing money, depending on which side of the coin you're on, talk about upfront how the communication process is going to go, right? If it's a fix and flip project, let's talk about upfront how you would like to be informed of the progress of the project. What does that look like? Is it sending emails once a month? Is it texting photos every other week? Is it uploading files into a Dropbox with all the pictures, the progress, right? What does that look like for you? I had someone message me last week who, again, this happens. A friend of mine, she messaged me and she said, hey, I had to extend the loan and I had to extend it again. My concern is I'm not really sure how the progress is going. And I'm like, that's a conversation we should have had right up front. How are you going to be kept up to date on the news of the project? And she's like, I know, I wish I could go back, right? So these are things you want to talk about up front. She also only got a promissory note. She didn't have a deed of trust securing her money against the property, right? And so we're going to talk about that on today's call. So there's so much to learn. Okay. But one of the things, I would start to incorporate in your borrowing and your lending business is how are you going to communicate with one another when a project is going on. So I'll just kind of share with you an example here, and it can be super simple. So one of the things that I do, I ask my lenders, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Lender, let me ask you a question. Are you on Facebook? Do you like going on Facebook? Are you comfortable on Facebook? And if they say yes, Noah, I am, then guys, this is something super easy and simple that you can do. So what we do is we create Facebook groups for all of our properties. And that's cool. So it's free, it's simple, it's easy, right? And if people like this method of staying up to date, then this is what we do for folks, right? And you can see in the group, anytime that there's a progress, things like this. Now, here's who's in the group, okay? It's one of my partners, Erica, our real estate agent, La Rosa, someone who's interested in the property, my private money lenders, my wife, right? And me. So if I can add my private money lenders to the group, I can add a contractor to the group. I can add my real estate agent, so she's up to date with what's going on in the project. And I just have them post it. They can post in here, or they can send me the pictures and we post them. But it's cool because you can just see all the progress from the property, right? So this one's moving along. We closed on this. I think we closed on this in like July, but there was a tenant in the property. They moved out 3 weeks later, and then we got going. And it's just about ready to go to market, right? And it's also a cool place where you can keep like all your pictures, like your before and afters, so you're not scrolling through your phone, and this has just been a nice little resource for us. But what's cool, you guys, if you look at the discussion here, this is my lender, Holly, and she says, hey, this looks great. And she gave it a little, little hug, a little caring hug, right? So something cool, talk about this stuff up in advance, right? It doesn't have to be something super official, super fancy, right? Especially if you're just doing fix and flips, rental properties, things like this. Like, we don't need like a 26-page, binder of like architectural drawings for a single family house. Let's just talk about it, communicate, keep people up to date with what's going on. All right. And here's what's great about that. Once you have a relationship with a private money lender, you don't need any more private money lenders. I mean, how many do you need, right? How many do we really need? If you're doing a good job borrowing money, paying back your lenders, and doing business, how many do you need? You shouldn't be doing it one deal and then never using that person again, right? If you've borrowed money from someone and that person has not wanted to lend to you again, we got to ask ourselves, what's going on? Why do they not want to do this again? Because the whole point of this is to do it again. Where else can someone make a nice double-digit rate of return, have it secured by real estate? Let's do it over and over and over and over again, okay? So anyways, welcome to the party. Here's what we do every single week. We start at 1 o'clock. We keep it real estate. Participation is encouraged. If you have questions, type them in the Q&A section. At the end of I'll leave some time here at the end to answer questions. If your question is very specific to you, then I might wait till the very end. If it's a question I think the whole group would benefit from, then I'll answer in front of everybody, all right? If I think the whole group would benefit from. I got my PMC team in the chat. So Jose Harkin, are you there? Jose, are you there? Jose. Okay, there he is. So just take a look at the chat there. If you're watching the replay and you have any questions, or you want to talk to Jose, the link to talk to him should be listed below in the YouTube video there for you to click on. But I got my PMC team in the chat. If you have any questions about classes, enrolling in anything, upcoming boot camps, you have questions about the Private Money Club itself and how to join and do, click the link and schedule some time with Jose. He can give you a tour virtually of what Private Money Club does and how it helps people, and we can get you going and get you involved, right? All experience levels are welcome. So this is a question. We talked about this last week, and I got a lot of great feedback on it because, I don't, just like Ron said, you don't know what you don't know. Let me ask you a question. What do you think of when you hear the term private lender? What do you think of? What do you think of when you hear the term private lender? What do you think of? Type it in the chat. Israel has got a good question here, a little comment in the chat box. He says, what's the best way to tap into a wholesaler network? Israel, are you a lender by chance, or are you a buyer? Are you looking to buy properties, or are you looking to lend? Let me know. That's because I actually talked about this on my accelerator course last night with my group here. I think right now there is a huge opportunity for people that are doing wholesale deals to tap into private money lender networks like the Private Money Club. If you are doing wholesale transactions, you're a wholesaler, you're wholesaling deals, I'm telling you right now, stop doing contract assignments and just start buying the properties. Every time that I just use a private money lender for 30 to 60 days and buy a property and turn around, put it on the MLS, I do way better than I would have just selling the paper and selling an assignment. Some of you are like, what are you talking about, Noah? Maybe next week we talk about that a little bit more in depth, but I think Israel's onto something here. You definitely want to connect with wholesalers. And if you're on this call and you are a lender, here's what I would do. I would get into Private Money Club. I'd get into Private Money Club. I would post in the forum that you are a lender and you're looking to make relationships and build relationships with wholesalers. And you would love to start doing some transactional funding, like 60 days or less types of deals. And if you can get a nice little assembly line going, oh man, off to the races, off to the races. I love all the answers that I'm seeing in the chat. What do you think about when you hear the term private lender? Robert says, hey, an individual who lends money, not a brick and mortar bank. Okay, cool. Annette thinks private contract and control. I like it. Patrick says simple and trustworthy. Yeah, okay, I like that. Dante says money not associated with an establishment or a bank, an individual person with flexibility. I like it. I like it. So this is super cool. And this is important to talk about because as you start having conversations with people about private money lending, it's kind of good to have some context about what other people might think that means, right? Because if I went to online right now to Google and I just Googled private money lender, what would come up? It'd be a million hits, and a lot of those search results would still be some sort of fund. It would still be a company or brokers and things like that. So, which is fine, right? Sometimes the private lender term gets used in the context of, well, it's not a traditional bank, right? We're not a traditional bank, but we're still using other people's money and we're brokering. When I say private money lender, what I'm referring to is an individual, right? Just like Robert said, an individual, a person. I'm thinking of how can I help this person, this retired school teacher? How can I help this small business owner? How can I help this family member? How can I help this friend of mine who's got some money in an IRA and he doesn't know what to do with it? How can I help this person who comes from a corporate background and has 3 different 401k accounts from different employers and he doesn't even know how to organize it and get it together and what to do with it? How can I help these people make money with their money, right? I'm talking about people, right? And I'm not a financial advisor by any means, but I'm a true believer that if someone were to lend to me, that I can help them. I can help them hit their goals, whatever that might look like, right? And that's the mindset that we should have, right? So that's good. What do we think of? Private money lender, individual, great job. So what are your goals? Let's do a roll call here. I had it happen again. Every time I go out and I wear this private money hat, right? And people start asking, hey, what is the private money club? It's people, community, borrowers, lenders. And they look at me like I got 8 heads. They look at me like a closed Waffle House. They can't believe what they're seeing or hearing. And they're like, what do you mean private money lender? There's actually people out there that lend money to you to do real estate deals? Yeah, absolutely. So I love to prove the point. So in the chat box, if you are a lender, you're someone that's looking to put their money to work at a nice rate of return and have it secured by real estate that's worth more than your loan amount, type lender in the chat box. Let me know. All right. Love it. Oh my gosh. Look, here they are. There they are, Jose. They're coming in. They're just, man, isn't this great? If you know what just came to mind, Jose? If I was, you ever seen those TV shows where like they go out into like the Arctic Ocean and they catch the crabs? Anybody ever seen, what are the deadliest catch, right? Deadliest catch. So it's like deadly. It's like, hey, where are the lenders? Well, let's just ask, right? And then you ask and you pull up and you're like, look at all the people, right? All right, same question. Let's ask, where are all the borrowers? Where are all the borrowers? Where are all my real estate investors that find great deals and provide great collateral for our lenders? Type borrower in the chat box if that's you, right? Same thing. If I was a lender and I was on that boat, I'm cranking up that cage. I'm like, whoa, look at all the borrowers. Payday, right? Payday. I mean, it's everywhere. It's all about where you're fishing. It's all about where you're fishing. You watch those shows with the big ships and God, they risk their lives and they go out and they drop their crates and they don't catch anything. Have you ever seen that happen? It's so sad. They're like, how am I going to feed my family? I've been on this boat for 6 weeks. It's like you're fishing in the wrong spot. And then you see this other boat and the guys are having a jolly old time. They're pulling up their lines. They got all the crab they could possibly eat. They're living like kings. What's the difference? Where they're fishing. The difference is where they're fishing. And what's cool about Private Money Club is this is a nice little pond of like-minded people that understand borrowing, understand lending, and want to do deals together, right? It's really tough for people. When I first got started doing this business, I had to go and have conversations with people that didn't want to hear it. They weren't open to the idea of borrowing or lending, and they didn't even know that this existed. So I had this like uphill battle of trying to explain what private money lending was, how it helps people, how we protect them. I was doing the elevator pitch, and it's good practice, but I heard a lot more no's than yeses. Whereas in Private Money Club, guess what? We hear a lot more yeses than we hear no's. At least that's been my experience. All right. All right, so are you in the club? Let's see. All right, we got lots of borrowers, we got lots of lenders, we got lots of new people to this call. Let's see. If you are a premier member with Private Money Club, let us know. I see your names. I feel like I know who you are, but just type it in the chat box. If you're a premier member, you're a member of the Private Money Club already, type premier in the chat box. All right, cool. Is there anyone who's been logging on over the last couple of weeks and they've taken me up on the offer of becoming a free member? Anybody in here got the free profile going? You're testing the waters and checking it out. Every single person on this call, right now we're like consistent, like right around 104 people, it looks like, but that number goes up and down because some people leave, some people log on, whatever, right? 104 people. Everyone who tunes in to this webinar should at least have a free membership, right? Michelle says she's checking it out. I love it. Chris says checking it out. Okay, cool. Where's the sign up? All right, so Roger's saying, hey, Freddie's saying, hey, where do we get that? So now there are some restrictions with the free membership to Private Money Club. Like you can't do certain things like message some people and maybe post deals and things like that. But you can get a feel for it. You can poke your head in, you can kind of see what's going on. Go have Jose. Jose's going to post the link. He just did. Click on the link, schedule a call with Jose and Private Money Club team, and have them give you a tour of it. It's free to join. Get your profile going. Put a picture there. All right. Now, here's some advice. When you go and create, this is something I'm working on with my accelerator class students, right? So I teach this class with Private Money Club called the Accelerator Program. The very first thing that I had my lenders do in that class was work on your profiles. So you have this amazing platform and community here that we can leverage to make great relationships. But the last thing that you want to do, whether you're a paid member or you got a free membership, is not have your photo in the profile. Your descriptions, like, is it one sentence? Is there a description? Do you even talk about who you are, right? Think about this, like no one is going to do business with you if you don't have a picture in your profile. No one is going to do business with you if your profile is filled out and it looks like super generic, or it looks like some artificial intelligence crap or something like that. Like, be you, put your best foot forward, do your profile the right way, and start making some real connections. Your profile should not give off the vibe that you're some Nigerian prince who just won the lottery and all you need is $10,000 to and so you can split the earnings with whoever's going to wire you the funds. You shouldn't look like a scam. All right. And I think sometimes people they're just like, I'll create the free profile, whatever. And then like they don't have as good of an experience because they look like they don't exist. They look like a bot or something. Right. So take the time, do it right. All right. If you're brand new to the call, click the link, get the profile going, and get in the club, man. Get in the club. If you're someone who's serious about borrowing money and doing this the right way, I'm telling you right now, the relationships that I've made through the Private Money Club and just a handful of lenders, I never would have met those people had it not been for Private Money Club. I wouldn't have. If you're actively doing deals right now and you're using hard money loans, I'm telling you, you're costing yourself money. You're costing yourself money. I mean, there's no way around it. And I can't tell you if you join Private Money Club, like what rates you're going to pay or if you're even going to be able to do a deal and find someone that trusts you and wants to do business with you. Like that's up to you, of course. But right now I pay anywhere from 8 to 12% interest, no points. Most of my fix and flip deals, I'm paying 10%, double digits. All right. Now I'm experienced. Okay. This is what I do for a living. Right. So I feel like I kind of, I've earned the right to pay a little less, right? I've got the experience. If you're brand new, maybe you pay a little bit more. But I'm telling you, when I was using hard money lending, I was getting hammered. I mean, I remember paying 14% and 4 points for private or for hard money loans, right? And I'm in a price point right now. Like, let's just say my average loan amount is, I don't know, I'm just keeping it simple, 200,000. If I'm going to hard, I mean, if I'm using hard money, I'm borrowing 200,000 for all of my deals, and I'm getting charged, 4% fee up front just to say hello, how you doing? Nice doing business with you. That's 8 grand a pop. And in my business, I do anywhere from 10 to 20 deals a year. That's kind of like what my goals are, 10 to 20. That's 80 grand. That could be 80 grand, right? So make the switch. I'm not saying anything wrong with hard money. If you don't have the connections yet with private money lenders, use the hard money. But while you're using hard money and using your own cash, if that's what you got to do for right now, start building up those conversations with the private lenders and start eliminating the hard money from your business, right? And start going with private. That's what I'm doing, right? Which is good.
Your real estate business lives and dies by the network and the connections that you make. I mean, after all, your network, well, it's your net worth. That's what you always heard, right? If that's an area where you desire improvement, well, Private Money Club, it's for you. PMC saves you precious time and money by bringing the real estate world, well, right to you, right in the palm of your hand. So get in on the action, like so many others have, by going to privatemoneyclub.com and sign up.
Yeah, Pamela says, I'm listening right now, can't, but I got to get set up. I got to get everything going. Yeah, absolutely, Pamela. Absolutely. Yeah, got to get it going. This is what we work on. And today we're going to talk about elevator pitches. I'm going to give you guys some good knowledge. In addition to what we've talked about already, we're going to practice some fundamentals here. This is the last slide that I show every single session, but I also show it in the middle just in case you got to log off. One of the biggest things that we strive for is implementation. It's actually making moves, and building momentum off of these calls. So these are all the things that we got going on at Private Money Club, over the next couple of months. Okay, so I want you to continue. You will want to continue down the road here, right? So at a minimum, go ahead and create your profile. Like let's take action. Let's not wait till next week. Let's do it this week. Schedule a call with the team inside Private Money Club. So if you are a Private Money Club member inside Private Money Club, there's certification courses like through Private Money Club. So there's a course where you can take where you're a borrower. If you're a borrower, there's a course you can take if you're a lender, right? And then once you complete those classes, there's a little badge goes next to your name and it shows that you've taken those courses, which is pretty cool. So this is all part of the club, right? Why wouldn't you take advantage of this and do this, right? My next accelerator course is November 4th. So I got a class that I'm doing right now that we're in the middle of. Next class starts November 4th. If you're interested in enrolling in that, it's 4 weeks, twice a week for 4 weeks, and then 4 weeks of email support. So if you're interested in expediting your learning, click the link there and Jose can tell you all about it and take you to the link and help you get enrolled in the class. We have a big event coming up here in Charlotte Motor Speedway, November 8th and 9th. That's an in-person event. It's at the racetrack, which it just sounds fun. I've been watching Talladega Nights for 2 months now, so I'm getting all my NASCAR talk and my Talladega Nights one-liners down. We've got a mobile home take action challenge. So my wife back here, I don't know if you can see the poster, Christy here. Christy teaches people how to buy, sell, fix up, and invest in manufactured and mobile homes, mobile home parks. So she teaches about that. And then we've got some boots on the ground bus tours happening December 7th and 8th in the Atlanta, Georgia area. So all these are really cool opportunities to learn. At a minimum, you guys get the profile going. And if anything, stay consistent with this webinar here every single Thursday. Just put it in your calendar, right? So that it pops up. You don't forget about it, okay? All right, let's dive into it. Thank you, Jose, for those links, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, if you want to check out the Mobile Home Take Action Challenge, Jose just put the link there. You can go to christyduckett.com/take action. Accelerator coaching information is there as well if you're interested. All right, let's go. All right, so I love disclaimers so much. I love them. They're so nice. I show them twice. This is the second time. I told you guys I'm big on this. Private money lending, it's risky. It's risky business. You got to make sure you surround yourself with the right team. Okay, if I teach you something, I talk about a case study or anything like that, just know that that's from my personal experience. Your experience is going to be way different, right? No piece of real estate is alike, no deal is alike. Just so the results that you get aren't going to be exactly what I got or anyone else in private money clubs for that matter. That's up to you. But you're on here, you're making the right decisions by educating yourself and surrounding yourself with the right people, right? And that's super important. All right, so here we go. Let's get into the elevator pitch. All right, let's get into this. Now, for those of you who have been on the calls before, I love to see your names on here. I think it's so cool that people come back. I've showed this slide 35 times. 35 times. And yeah, I still see all the same names, right? So what's cool is that we learn something different every time. We share something different every time, but the principles remain the same. Lots of people will ask, like, hey, Noah, do you have a script? And I do have a script. I hate using it. I hate handing it out because I would much rather you harness the principles of an effective elevator pitch than be reading a script. All right. I want you to be yourself. But once you have a good understanding of what the goal is with each of these levels to the elevator, man, you're going to crush it. You're going to do fantastic, right? I'm a big believer in that. So we're going to start off with private money loan. It's a loan secured by real estate, just like a bank. Just like a bank. So the big principle that I'm going to share with you here is you got to remember, like, if you're talking to people who are unaware that the opportunity exists to become a private money lender, it's an uphill battle, right? Like, they're going to be like, wait, I don't understand. Like, you can do this, you can do that. Like, how does that work? Like, it's an uphill battle, right? There's too many questions. To help people be able to relate to what private money lending is, here's a few tricks that I like. Here's a few strategies, right, that I like to do. Number one, I like to use the words just like a bank. Just like a bank. And here's how I do that. So if I have someone who I'm talking to, and like, let's just say they're a family friend or someone I met at my son's hockey game or something like that, right? And they're curious about my business and they're curious about the private money lending side, I'd ask them, hey, let me ask you a question. Have you ever bought a house before? Like, do you own the home that you live in? And usually they say yes. I say, okay, great. When you bought your house, you signed a big stack of documents, right? You got a mortgage to pay for it. They're going to say yes, yes. Okay, great. The same paper, very similar, the same paperwork that you signed, mortgage, promissory note, with Wells Fargo, it's the same process working with us. Only I'm not going to Wells Fargo, I'm going to you. So the loan is secured by the paperwork, just like a bank would want. And when you do a good job explaining that, the light bulbs start to go off, you see the smiles, you see the heads tilt, and it's now relatable, right? So if you can put people in the shoes of the bank and see and show them that it's very similar, anyone can do it, the light bulbs are going to go off and they're going to want to start to hear more, right? So just like a bank, if I were to get another tattoo on my body, it would be just like a bank. I can't tell you how many times a week I say that phrase, just like a bank, just like a bank. Just like a bank would want, we provide a mortgage. Just like a bank would want, we provide a promissory note, right? Just like before you went and bought the house that you live in, you called your local State Farm agent and you got insurance on the property and you told them that you had a lender, right? Just like a bank, right? Similar processes, right? Just like a bank would want insurance, title insurance policy, same thing. We're going to do that for you too. So we're providing them with stuff, and keep in mind, it's not like I'm writing out the mortgage, I'm typing it on my computer. This is all done by a real estate attorney. It's all done by a title company, escrow company, whatever licensed business professional does that in your state. That's who's handling it, right? And that's actually one of our floors. Okay, so just like a bank, just like a bank. Bradley says, I'm a little late here, but what are the rates for private money lenders versus hard money lenders? That's a great question, Bradley. And it's all going to vary. Here's what's cool. As a private money lender, you set your policy. You set your company policy. You decide, right, what's best for you in your business. So I've worked with private money lenders that are just as expensive as hard money lenders. A lot of this has to do with you as a borrower, the relationships that you have, and also the needs of your lender. So if you're, and here's kind of like what I do. Bradley, if you want to find out hard money lending rates, you can type hard money lender. You can go to a couple of different websites, different companies, and you can see what they charge, right? Very common. Very common. There's a hard money lending company in my area, and they charge 13% and 3 percentage points origination fees just to do the deal. So if it's a $200,000 loan, they're going to charge 3% of the 200,000. That's 6,000, and then it's going to be 13%. So you could find a private money lender and private money club that does the same thing, that charges the same amount. From my experience and what I've seen is that it's you're able to negotiate better. So you can come in and say, hey, look, we're going to talk about this in the elevator pitch. It's like the next slide. But for me, what I do is I tell people, hey, we pay anywhere from 8 to 12% interest. And that's it. And then people seem to really like that. And if it's a fix and flip type of transaction, if it's a shorter transaction, then personally in my business, I always try to pay at least 10% annualized interest on the money. I like for people to be able to brag that they're making a double-digit interest rate when they work with Noah Harris, right? So that's kind of your call and what you want to do, right? Jennifer Patel will probably tell you the same thing, right? Jennifer Patel probably does the same thing. So there's a variance there. So you got to figure out what that's going to look like for you. Now, at the same time, I'm going to use Jennifer Patel as an example here because she's a good friend of mine. She's a Private Money Club Premier member, and she's crushing it in the Poconos. If anyone would like to take a vacation to the Poconos, Jennifer Patel has a really nice Airbnb up there that I'm sure is available for leafing season, right? Shout out to Jennifer Patel in the Poconos. But here's what I would say, Jen. I'm going to ask Jen, if Jen's my private money lender or someone who I'm thinking about borrowing from or introducing to this concept, I'm going to ask Jennifer, I'm going to say, hey, Jen, tell me a little bit about how your money's working for you right now. And depending on her answer is the rate that I'm going to offer her. If Jennifer says, well, you know what, Noah, I've got money in my savings account. I'm trying to be smart. I'm not really sure what to do. I inherited some money from my family member. I sold our house. I want to be smart. I want to make my money work for me. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, great. Jen's going to love 10% because 10% is a lot better than the 3% she's making in the savings account. If I'm talking to someone like Chris Naugle, the founder of the Private Money Club, the godfather, right? Chris isn't going to turn, if I say, hey, Chris, we want to do 10%, he's going to, like, what are you talking about? Get out of here, right? In order to get Chris's attention, I got to go at least 15, 18% on whatever it is that I'm presenting to him, right? Because he's super on top of it. Like, this is all this guy does for a living, right? So a lot of what do you charge, what do you pay comes down to you as the borrower, but then also how you are helping the lender. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see in Private Money Club, guys, and if you need help with this stuff, take the class, take the accelerator. If you need help, I see too many people that are like 33% interest, 20% interest. In my mind, when I hear someone offering 18%, 20%, something crazy high, in my mind, that screams desperation, believe it or not. In my mind, it screams, is this real? Like, because I don't see why someone would pay that much. Maybe they're just so nice and the deal's so good and everybody eats, right? The Josh Allen Buffalo Bills, everybody eats. Well, we need a number one wide receiver, all right? So let's be honest. Same thing, right? So I would much rather have a spread 8 to 12 and then start having conversations with people and see where you can meet in the middle, all right? See where you can meet in the middle. All right, here we go. Next slide. Show me the money. So this is kind of what we were talking about here, right? So if you're a borrower, let's figure out what you're willing to pay. What does your business model look like? What do your deals account for, right? Each person's different, right? Each person's different. We pay, in my business, this is what I say. We pay anywhere from 8 to 12% annualized interest on our fix and flip deals. Each loan opportunity is unique. I just leave it open. And hey guys, do I pay more sometimes? Absolutely. Right? If it's crunch time, the idea here, remember, this is relationship based. So as we start building relationships, I interview people and I find out like how much you have. Am I going to like working with this person? There's one person I really enjoy working with her. I pay her 14%, but I don't use her all the time. It's only when the deal allows me to go to her do I present deals to her. Most of the time, I'm pretty conservative with what I do. So 8, 10, 12 tops, Every once in a while, there's a nice little home run, nice little triple where I can go to someone and make sure I'm still friends with them by doing deals with them, right? But they're more expensive, so I got to kind of put them on the back burner. Okay, but have it figured out. If you're a lender, figure out what you charge. Have this figured out. Hey, we lend anywhere from 10 to 15%. Each loan opportunity is unique. Let's just get the conversation started. The whole point of an elevator pitch, the whole point of the elevator pitch is to schedule a time to talk. It's not to get a deal done. Elevator pitches are not designed. No one's going to be like, oh, wow, you said that so nice. Do I make the check out to you? Like, that's not how this works. How it works is be like, hey, you know what? That sounds really good. I want to learn more about this. Cool. Let's set up a time to grab a cup of coffee. Let's set up a time to do a Zoom call or have a phone call together, right? The only thing that we are selling during an elevator pitch is the opportunity to sit down and have a serious discussion, right? So these are the documents that, at a minimum, we're going to talk about. So, and then remember, this is the elevator pitch. I'm not going to go down my underwriting, check my boxes that I'm checking in an elevator ride, right, in 30 seconds. But what I can do is let them know that just like a bank, there's paperwork, there's a process to this. We use licensed professionals. We're doing this the right way, okay? Anytime that I've heard of a private money deal going bad, 9 times out of 10, they're missing one of these, all right? So there's no mortgage or deed of trust. There's nothing recorded. Lots of times when I see private money loans go bad, it's because they only have a person only has a promissory note, and it's just a piece of paper. It's not even worth anything, right? We need a mortgage. We need a deed of trust. We need it drawn up by an attorney, and then we need it recorded in the land records where the property is, right? We need that lien to show up. What's nice about private money lending is that if you don't pay, the lender can foreclose on the property, right? But they can't start that process if they don't have the right docs, okay? Again, last week I had someone come up to me and they're like, oh, I got the promissory note and things just aren't going that great and I haven't communicated that well with them. I'm not really sure what's going on with the project. And I'm like, well, did you get the deed of trust or did you get a mortgage? With you like listed there and have it recorded, and crickets, right? They didn't do it. Now they're screwed. Okay. So every single time, this is what we're asking for. Personal guarantee. DOT has saved us 3 times over 25 years lending from our self-directed IRAs. Thank you, Michelle, for that. Yeah, guys, what are we doing? And borrowers, if you want to be a great borrower, you set your lenders up for success, right? You don't give them any reason not to want to do business with you when you do this stuff the right way, right? Ron asked a question, what is more important to you, interest or repayment time? Everyone's goals are different. That's what's cool. You know what's cool? And I talk a lot about this, like next week in Accelerator, I'm teaching the one-on-one private money lender meeting, like what to say in the meeting and things like that. And what's cool is once you understand a borrower's needs and once you understand the lender's needs, what's cool is you can craft and draw up the note and the repayment schedule and all of that stuff to help meet everyone's needs. If I'm a borrower and I'm talking to a lender that's like, man, monthly cash flow is really important to me, I'm going to make sure that they're going to be getting monthly interest payments. If I have someone that's like, yeah, I want to do this and then my kids are going to college in 5 years, I want to make sure I'm taking care of them. All right, cool. We're going to do maybe I can do a 4 or 5 year balloon payment where over the course of the next 4 or 5 years, their money is consistently sending them making them interest, right? So I'm listening and hearing what's important to people, and then when I present my loan opportunity, I'm going to present exactly what they wanted, right? Which is kind of cool. Personal guarantee. So when we're lending money, we're lending to LLCs, some sort of entity, right? These are investment properties. But it's also important, I think, that we provide personal guarantees as borrowers, right? So even though a lender is lending to my LLC, I also provide a personal guarantee in addition to, right? And we get insurance set up and list you on the insurance as the lost payee. So these are I don't know, the core 4, if you want to call it that. It's not the end all be all, right? There's more to this. There's lots of due diligence that we want to do, but for conversation purposes, and this is the goal. We want everybody in the club, in Private Money Club, thinking and acting like this, right? Show me the money, right? So all documents are prepared and recorded by a licensed professional. So, and I like to kind of, it's really important to talk about this. I've probably mentioned it 30 times on this call already, But here's the thing. When you start talking 12%, 15%, you start talking about these crazy high interest rates, the greed gland's going. People are like, oh, wow, okay. They're running the numbers in their head, right? But then there might be a moment where someone takes a step back and they're like, this might sound too good to be true. You're crazy. You're paying 10%. That's crazy, right? Because outside of our community, outside of our investor realm and our investor communities, when people hear interest rates on the news, they think 3% is what everybody should be paying on an interest rate for a house. 5% is tops. 6%. Oh my gosh, it's so high right now. So when you start talking to people that don't know about these types of opportunities and lending opportunities and how they could be a private lender, and you start talking about 12%, man, they're used to hearing 6 is high, right? So to help kind of like release that pressure valve there, you can explain your business model a little bit. Hey, look, these are short-term loans. It's not like it's a 30-year mortgage. We run our numbers. We understand that this is a little bit riskier than a traditional single-family home. We're making repairs and doing all this stuff. So we understand we're going to pay a little bit more in interest and things like that. You can share with them the business model a little bit. But then I also know that it helps when we talk about how all the documents are prepared and recorded by a licensed professional, right? And this isn't something that you're going to go offline and print on, you're going to type in mortgage on Google and print something and fill it in yourself. You're going to have a title company, escrow company, real estate attorney. They're going to walk you through this, right? Everything's done the right way. Dante says, hey, can we dive deeper into the personal guarantee and what does that look like? I've seen personal guarantees be one-page documents. I've seen personal guarantee be a part of the promissory note, a paragraph in the promissory note that shows that you're personally guaranteeing the loan. So like my company, so if it was Noah Harris LLC is the borrower, it would say in addition to that the manager, operators, person signing on behalf of Noah Harris LLC is also personally responsible for this loan and personally guaranteeing the loan, right? I'm generally speaking here. I'm not an attorney, but generally speaking, that's what I would be looking for, something along those lines, right? So have your attorney write that for you with their guidance and counsel, or have your attorney look over whatever someone's sending you to make sure there's something in there that is saying that the owner and the manager of this LLC, whoever's signing, right, on behalf of the LLC, they're on the hook. They're also on the hook for the loan. All right. And then that gives the lender the availability to go after a person's personal assets or to slap a judgment against them personally if they're not paid back and so on and so forth. All right. I have done 2 flips so far. I made 85 on the first and 65 on the second. That's awesome. Why would someone prefer to take money from a private lender than a bank? That's a great question. So Juliana, hopefully you're still on the call here. If you are on the call, just say yes. I'm on the call, but I'm gonna answer it anyways because I think a lot of people would benefit from this. Why would someone? This is a great question. So you're gonna have, as you start talking to people about private money, you might have someone say, "Well, why are you gonna go with me? Why don't you just go with a bank?" Right? And this is your time to shine. This is your time to shine. So to understand why we go with private lenders as opposed to banks, it's really important that you understand and have the ability to communicate what your business model looks like as a real estate investor. Private money lenders solve a lot of our problems as real estate investors, and one of the biggest ones is time. So as a real estate investor, I'm constantly doing marketing. I'm sending out letters. I've got signs out. I've got real estate agents bringing me deals. But a lot of that verbiage in the marketing and what's being communicated to sellers is that we can close quickly, right? So if someone's in a situation where they're like, I need to sell right away. I need to sell. And like last week we bought I don't know how long ago it was. A few weeks ago, we bought a house that was going into foreclosure. We were able to stop the foreclosure, and the person needed money to move into a new place, a new apartment, and she needed a quick closing, right? We couldn't have gone to a bank and said, hey, we need a mortgage. And by the way, we have to close in 10 days. Oh, and by the way, the house needs a ton of repairs. There's a foundation issue. There's a broken window. The roof's like original. It's like 30 years old. And we need all this money in 10 days. A bank isn't going to be able to do that. They're not going to be able to do the timeline, and they're not going to be able to, they don't want to fund the deal that needs a lot of work, that smells like cat pee, whatever, right? So in some instances, we just can't go to traditional banks. It's not their business model. Traditional banks are in the business of giving mortgages primarily to people that are going to live in the properties, and they have all these boxes that they're checking, credit scores and debt to income ratios and all this stuff that they're checking, which is good. But the reason why they're checking all those boxes is because they're going to go turn around and sell that loan in the next 30 days, and that buyer for that loan has certain boxes that need to be checked. So for our business as real estate investors, we just don't fit into that mold, right? So that's probably the main reason why we would go with a private money lender as opposed to going to the bank, because the bank's just not going to get it done. Whereas a private individual, I can pick up the phone, I can present the deal, package it, put all the numbers together, say here's the opportunity, and they're going to look over it. They can say yes, like that. I'm not doing this like daisy chain of, okay, I got the mortgage banker, I got the mortgage broker, I got the underwriter, I got the underwriter's manager, all this stuff that has to say yes. I can pick up the phone, I can talk to my lender, tell them about the deal. And as you build relationships over and over and over, or do deals over and over and over again with the same person, it might even get to the point where they're like, just how much do you need, right? Because you've built that credibility and you've built that trust up with them. Not that I would ever recommend lending without looking at what you're lending on, but that's the idea. It's relationship based, right? What do you normally use for benchmarks for draws on a loan? That's a great question. So Brian said, hey, what do you normally use for benchmarks for draws on the loan? So lots of times with fix and flip type projects, you're going to have like the purchase price, and then you're going to have the renovation costs. And this can all come from the same person, right? And as a lender, what's cool is you can kind of make the decision. Do I lend all this money up front, or do I lend just the purchase price up front, and then the renovation costs I'm actually going to keep in escrow with the attorney, and then once the borrower hits certain benchmarks and progress with the fix and flip, I will release the funds, so on and so forth. How my wife does this, because my wife manages all of our projects. She's the one that's on the job sites and works with the contractors and things like that. It's just the different phases. So like phase one might be the demo, right? And then once we do the rough-in, each project's going to be a little bit different. But I like to break it up in maybe 3 or 4 different draws, right? If you want to do it that way. Right. So you can just kind of talk with them and communicate with them and say, hey, what's good for you? It's also good to talk to people about like their budgets and things like that too. Right now we're doing a fix and flip on Lake Murray, and it's a really, it's a $150,000 renovation. So it's a big project. I don't really want to go 50 grand increments and 50 grand draws at a time, so we might have more frequent draws if that were the case, right? But if it's a small deal and it's like $30,000 reno budget, then maybe you do you figure it out. That's up to you to communicate with, but there's lots of different ways that you can do it. Do you have prepayment penalties for early payoffs? You know what? If I'm the borrower, I love guaranteeing a certain amount of monthly interest to my lenders, regardless of how long I keep their money. So if it's a deal that might be a little bit shorter, maybe it's transactional funding or something like that. Or if I'm buying a house, I'm like, gosh, this would make a great fix and flip, but I got 5 of them going on right now. Do I really want another one, or should I just buy this and turn around and sell it? If I'm unsure of what my exit strategy is, I may borrow the funds from my private money lender just for the purchase price. And then in the paperwork, I'll let them know, hey, I'm trying to figure out if I want to fix this and keep it. If I do, then we're probably looking at a 6 to 8 month timeline. But if I might, once I buy it, turn around and just put it on the MLS and see if someone wants to give me 20 grand more for it. If that's the case and we sell this thing in like 30 days, I'm going to guarantee you at least 4 months worth of interest, so it's worth your time. And they're like, okay, great. Right? So these are all things that, again, relationship based. So you can kind of figure out how you can help people and work together. If I was a lender, I would want that, right? Because I don't want to do a deal and then get my money back in 2 weeks. That's obnoxious. That's annoying. Unless that was taught to me, unless I was told, hey, this is going to be super short, and you're going to make a large chunk of cash really quick, and we could do this over and over and over again. It might be. That sounds fun, right? Do you give any money up front to get started on the fix and flip, or is it just reimbursement? Again, this is up to you. If you're the lender, it's up to you. How do you want to do it? Talk to the borrowers. Most people, what most hard money lending funds do, and you can model your business after hard money lending, what most hard money lending companies are going to do is they're going to say, you have to make sure that we're making sure you got money in the bank because you're going to pay for this up front. So you're going to go, first 15 grand, first 20 grand, first 10 grand, whatever, get the work done. We're going to send out someone to inspect the property, make sure the work was done, send in pictures, things like that, your invoices, submit it to us, and then we'll reimburse you. You could do it like that. It's really up to you. Or you could be like, hey, here's 10 grand. I always, if you're new, if you're working with someone for the first time, work then pay. And that goes for paying contractors and probably for doing draws as lenders. Work then pay, right? All right, guys, has this been hey, give me a big oh yeah if this has been a good one. Has this been a good class? I feel like it has. We do this every single week. I'm gonna pull up my slides one more time so you can kind of see. We do this every single week, Thursday at 1 o'clock. All right. If you aren't a Private Money Club member yet, go get a profile. It's free. Why wouldn't you do it? If you spent 60 minutes with me, think of what you're going to get with Jose, right? With the VIP tour, right? Jose, is there any champagne during the VIP tour? Is there any champagne? You should send some champagne to the people and then you guys coordinate, right? Once you get the champagne, we'll schedule the Zoom and then we pour it out and we both sip on the champagne while we do a tour of the the boom boom room. No, different kind of webinar. All right, so this is everything that we got going on right now, guys. Take action. If I don't see you on the next call, hopefully I see you in the club, and definitely hope to see everybody here either in my accelerator course with Private Money Club or in Charlotte at the Money Take event. Go say hi to my wife in the Mobile Home Take Action Challenge, and to say hi to my friends Mike and Mike down in Atlanta, Georgia, for their bus tour where you get on the ground, boots on the ground type of training, learn how to estimate repairs and do things like that. Where, for a lot of our lenders, the best lenders understand real estate. And a lot of the best lenders, from my experience that I've worked with, used to be real estate investors themselves. So they have a good understanding of what the costs are, what the repair costs are, and things like this. But if you come from a different industry, like, maybe you're a dental hygienist, like you don't come from real estate. How do you know if a deal is a good deal? How do you know how much a roof should cost or what it should cost to replumb a 2-bathroom house? These are things that the bus tour intensive kind of help you with. You do tours, you walk through properties with a coach and have systems and checklists. And so that's a really cool class. Everyone that's gone to it seems to really enjoy it, got a lot of value out of it. But this is what we got going on. This is my little system here. This is how I leverage Private Money Club. I can't speak for everyone, that this is what I do, and it's helped me get results. I post a deal in the deal section. I post a deal in the forum section. I send everybody to my website if they want to learn more about my company, and then they schedule time on my calendar, and then we talk about the deal. We start building that relationship. We start finding out what each other's goals are and if it makes sense for us to work together. And from the time that I've been a part of Private Money Club, before I started teaching and doing these webinars, I really wanted to make sure that it got results for me. I wanted to make sure so I could sleep at night. Hey, if I'm gonna put on this effort, does this work? Is this community any good? Like, what's the deal? So I started posting my deals, and you guys, I got great results. I got several lenders here that I have good relationships with, and I got dozens of people who want to do deals with me. I just don't have enough deals. But I put in the work. I put the deals up. They were good deals. They made sense. I've got a track record. I've got experience, of course, right? So I don't know how this is going to be for everybody, but for me, it was really simple. It was pretty simple. You gotta make the effort to reach out and start calling people and start making a friend. Go make a friend, right? All right, cool. I'm signing off, everybody. I hope you have a great week. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next Thursday. All right, take care, everyone. All right, bye.